a number of things that I've heard from people in the Pentagon, that the buzzword in the secret of secrets in the Pentagon is the Sumerian gods are returning, and that's what they're referring to as that whole area that Peter's.
Wow!
Can you repeat that again, just in case anybody missed it? The buzzword
in the Pentagon, in the military circles that are in the know about the cover-up here, they kind of in whispered tones talk about the return of the Sumerian gods. And they're talking about the what we would call aliens or fallen angels returning into the Middle East, into Old Sumer area.
The Anunnaki.
All of them, for some reason, who worship these dragon gods, when their God will return and the earth will enter into a new age of elevated mankind. Most of them also, by the way, would speak in terms in their own mysticism, as I was talking about last night. We are heading towards a time where men are going to become demigods, according to the transhumanists, but they say the same thing in their own language. Man is going to be elevated. We're going to have a new golden age. The gods are going to return, and men with gods are going to be blended. It's all part of their prophecy. Is it to the Iron Age? That's the age that we are in now, where there is so little divinity left inside humanity. What do we got to do? We got to create a new breed of humanity. Exactly what the transhumanists are saying now. The mystics of old were saying the same thing. The day will come when we will need to rejuvenate, recalibrate, alter, re-engineer humanity so that once again we can be an offspring of the immortals.
So there are two sides to this transformation. You have the angelic transformation, the metamorphosis, and then you have a demonic metamorphosis. So this is why choosing your side right now is very important. Otherwise, a side will be chosen for you.
The war will last no time if the sons of God can awaken to who they are. That is what some of the Yoruba people understood, what the magicians understand, and they had to first come into the consciousness and frequency of who they were. This summer you will hear, and starting this summer, probably for the next 3 years, about the sunspot activity being on the increase, about solar activity, ultraviolet light burning tissue, and melanomas and carcinomas affecting the blood and the skin of people on earth. For the sons of God who have an active pineal, that will be a day of blessing, for it will not affect you. You will not be burned, you will simply darken, and the melanin growing, it's almost like a vicious cycle to make you more and more powerful. As they get cancers of the skin and glands, you will get glands beginning to awaken and throwing out.
I have a theory on why we're seeing northern lights in the US and in places in the world that there's never been a record of northern lights. I've done a bunch of videos on the North Star being God's throne room and also emitting the northern lights, and I posted footage of that. So we know Polaris is the center of the firmament. That's also God's throne room. Not only does God's eye / the northern lights power reality and the light, but I think it also combats evil in a way, if that makes sense. And I think that's why they keep saying that the grid might go down if there's a solar flare. Now stick with me. So if God's throne room is at the top of the firmament and the firmament itself is rotating, then that would make the throne room the center of the sky. So if the sun on the solar space model is actually everything rotating around God's throne room, the North Star, and the North Star is sending out the northern lights, and it's fending off evil. Suddenly, Project Satan, yes, that's the real name, where they're trying to block out the sun, makes a lot more sense.
So now, this is a ancient, old war between God and the devil, or Satan. For Satan to combat the awakening of God's children, the black goo is sent out to infiltrate the children of God, the chosen people, and it's supposed to mutate them into reptilians or demonics. So what happens is, so we don't, catch suspicion of the government being part of this, they create a lie, an alien lie, making us look in space for this alien threat when the whole time the alien invasion is already happening here among us through parasites and nanotechnology.
Of a secretive project within the Department of Defense involving the manipulation of human genetics with what is described as non-human genetic material, potentially for the enhancement of human capabilities, hybrid.
You know why the medical data was being collected?
Yes, I do indeed.
In 1947, a spacecraft was reportedly recovered in New Mexico. No doubt you know of this, and of the reported recovery of a body at the site. These incidents coincided with not only the end of World War II, but an ignominious project which brought Nazi scientists and war criminals to this country to exploit their knowledge.
Operation Paperclip.
Dr. Joseph Mengele, the Nazi angel of death.
Mengele thought that he could produce a super race through genetic engineering.
As did many of his colleagues.
Klemperer was trying to create an alien-human hybrid. That's what I saw in the boxcar. He was using human test subjects.
Black magic, conjuring these demons, communicating with these demons, and it's well known that these Nazis were in communication with the supposed reptilians, the lizard people, these Vril entities, the gray aliens, and all this stuff. You can see how they're all demonically possessed in Germany back during World War II. These Nazi SS who all claim to be Christian, and they're doing seances and they're doing witchcraft and pentagrams and conjuring up these demonic entities. And then as the war ended, all of these Nazi occultists come into the United States and NATO countries through this Operation Paperclip.
Nazis were very interested in this type of technology, and they learned about it through Tibetan writings and other cultures, and doing excavations and researching this technology to the point where that they developed a very primitive form of electrogravitic levitation.
Studies were done at military installations S4, Groom Lake, Wright-Patterson, and Dulce, extracting alien tissue. Tests were done on unsuspecting human subjects, and elaborately staged abductions in craft using alien technology recovered from the down saucers, including human hybridization through gene editing.
So they beta tested and have been testing on the public sightings that are man-made UFOs, often piggybacking on sightings of actual ET craft, so that people are confused, don't have any discernment. But special operations folks who are under 5 feet and with certain makeup and masks on these anti-gravities who would go then and abduct people. So there have been abduction squads, which are also confirmed by this Air Force intelligence officer, that have been operative for decades. And when it has suited the intelligence community, they have engaged in human abductions that 100% fool those poor victims.
So the aliens are a lie, and let's just say that these are interdimensional demons. These are demons from another dimension, or these are fallen angels from this dimension sent down by God, which is why there's a whole firmament in the first place, because we're on quarantine because of the black goo and as well from these fallen angels. So the fallen angel trade their technology with our government in order for the fallen angel to learn how to manipulate the genetics of man, how to gene edit. The fallen angel infiltrate the military, the Nephilim infiltrate the military, these Anunnaki beings, and the negative faction of the Anunnaki. And basically the idea is to merge their genetics with humanity's, like they've always done, the Anunnaki, always genetically engineering creations and stuff like that. So they're literally merging us with them, basically. And this is through their blood, aka the black goo, aka Satan's blood, and all of it connects back to the Anunnaki. But there are a lot of movies that portray the return of gods, ancient Sumerian gods, these Anunnaki. I'll do a video on that in the future. I'll show you a short clip now from something I saw when I was younger off of Scooby-Doo.
Interdimensional beings that visit the planet Earth every few thousand years. We arrive at a time called Nibiru, when the barriers between our worlds grow weak. The Anunnaki have a great history of helping humans, but we have no physical form and must inhabit animals. This is why some animals, our descendants, can talk and others cannot. But not all Anunnaki are kind and good. There are evil ones, and the most evil one of all is imprisoned beneath Crystal Cove.
Into that. But the weirdest part of all was what the late Abigail Gluck whispered.
Like I'll say, a crazy mummified corpse whispering Nibiru is creepy times 10.
It gets creepier. I googled it and found a lot. Namely this. Nibiru is a planet listed in the writings of Zechariah Sitchin, particularly his book The 12th Planet. According to Sitchin's interpretation of Babylonian religious texts, a giant planet called Nibiru passes by Earth every 3,600 years and allows its sentient inhabitants to interact with humanity. These beings, which Sitchin identified with the Anunnaki of Sumerian myth, would become humanity's first gods. My favorite internet encyclopedia says there's supposed to be a collision. The Nibiru collision is a disastrous encounter between the Earth and a large planetary object. Believers in this doomsday event usually refer to this object as Planet X, or Nibiru.
The doomsday event?
All right, now we're going to switch it back to the X-Files. Actually, notice how the doggy, the female dog, said that they are interdimensional. The Anunnaki are interdimensional. Keep that part in mind. So now I'm going to get to the X-Files predictive programming on how they want this black goo pathogen, this demonic Anunnaki pathogen, to infiltrate humanity, how they're going to turn us into one of these demigods.
The virus is extraterrestrial, been lying dormant underground in the form of an evolved pathogen. We know very little about it except that it was the original inhabitant of this planet.
A virus. He told us it was biological warfare, a virus. Plague? Plague to end all plagues, Agent Mulder.
Without a vaccination, the only true survivors of the viral holocaust will be those immune to it, human alien clones. He allowed your sister to be abducted, to be taken to a cloning program for one reason.
So she will survive.
Black goo is a sentient life form. It has its own will to live. And if it gets into our body, it can actually wreak havoc. But it can also do things like rapidly clone. After the Lake Toba eruption, the crops killed a lot of the humans that were alive at that time. It was actually benevolent ETs that brought the black goo to Earth in the event that they needed to rapidly clone humans to repopulate the planet. But they knew it was a dangerous substance, so they left it in this cave on South Tule Island, where it would always be inert. It cannot be activated in freezing.
So a meteor crashed to Earth. But along with the biological building blocks on it, there was something else. An alien virus.
I believe there was a virus which thrived here prehistorically. I believe that virus infected early man and transformed his physiology.
Change him into something else.
Into an alien life form himself.
And what happened to these aliens?
They died in the last ice age 35,000 years ago.
And the virus?
It lay dormant, underground, until it surfaced once again during our current geologic period.
And the government knows of this.
The government learned of this virus in 1947. When a UFO crashed in Roswell, New Mexico.
The UFO crash revealed the virus.
The virus thrived underground in petroleum deposits, in black oil. It has sentience. It can think. It has the ability to communicate. And it communicated with the UFOs.
And the government knows this, too.
They salvaged various alien technology from them, and from their databanks, they learned of the alien plan to recolonize the Earth.
Is this all leading anywhere?
Yeah. The destruction of mankind.
I'll warn you once, Agent Mulder.
And what did the government do with this information of an alien takeover?
They kept it a dark secret. If it had gotten out, there would have been wild panic.
Mr. Skinner, are we finished?
No, there's a matter of Agent Scully's own abduction in 1994.
Abduction by whom?
By the military, working with the government conspirators to develop a breed of human-alien hybrids that the aliens would use as a slave race.
Shit. And then as far as the meteorite, this black cube, of Saturn and all that, this could be where the black goo comes from. There's so many theories out here black goo could have originated from. But the bottom line is we know it's an interdimensional presence sent by the Anunnaki, most likely. The real alien invasion is happening through our consciousness. It's happening through our body, okay? It happens through possession as the black goo being a medium, the graphene being a medium. They are literally trying to transform us into, like at the beginning, Thomas Holmes said, they're turning us into demigods to be a slave race for this return of the Anunnaki. This shit is crazy. It's not like these beings are coming from space. Remember, we're in quarantine. We're under the dome. You need to keep that in mind. We're in a firmament. Keep that in your mind, all right? So these beings, the only way they can get to you is through a low vibration. The only way these beings can get to us is through our consciousness. They have to weaken our mind. They put us under mind control. They get us working 9 to 5 jobs so we're exhausted all day and then go to sleep. And in this weakened state, they have REM sleep technology that's able to absorb our consciousness, put it into a cloned body, and do whatever the fuck they want with it, bro. Let's get into some further predictive programming as far as the pandemic and how they're using this to colonize humanity.
China has identified the cause of the mysterious new virus
has reached Australia.
This is a rapidly emerging situation where there is not a cause for alarm.
The first U.S. case has been detected.
Is urging its citizens not to travel abroad as it struggles to contain the virus.
We will be standing up Christmas Island as a quarantine area.
Foreign nationals coming from China are now banned from entering the country.
Ability to depopulate the planet, to kill everyone but the chosen.
By tampering with their DNA. Alien DNA mixed with our DNA.
We are both protected, Dana.
Reports of deaths, soldiers from anthrax, and the elderly all succumbing to infections because of immune systems that have been depleted or disappeared. New reports that microwave radiation is also being used as a trigger, and reports this may also be global in scope. Our advice is to stay indoors.
The Spartan virus removes the adenosine deaminase gene from your DNA. Remove the ADA gene and your immune system will simply vanish.
How does the virus remove the ADA gene?
A process called CRISPR-Cas.
CRISPR-Cas9. RNA and a protein cutting genes at exact locations.
Exactly.
Breaking news of hospitals being overrun and temporary shelters filling up.
To an epidemic of flu and bacterial diseases. A systematic spreading of a substance that triggers a genetic response.
And this is where Morgellons disease comes from. I've done a lot on this in my 5G video of the black goo and the mRNA, but basically these black fibers made out of these molecules of graphene or black goo come together and form a weaving or a knotting, which forms these blood clots everyone's finding in their bodies. It's forming these vril lizard 369 lizard vril creatures inside people, and they're just inert now because they haven't been fully activated, and this is why some people are getting clots and dying. But when enough people have these clots in them, which are these manifestations of this 369 parasite, they will all end up being taken over when the 5G is activated.
On the side. And yeah, there you go.
Right.
You see those reptilian scales? This is coming out of people who were formerly alive. People are walking around with these things growing inside. Understand that these are not clumps of blood. These are not clumps of blood. That's what I'm trying to get across.
Right.
There's no way that these are blood clots. At the very high resolution, they look like almost reptilian scales.
Wow.
Basically, when you get these, you're not a regular human being anymore.
You're not a regular human being anymore.
A medium being used by some kind of alien creature that uses it to body jump.
Black oil was an alien creature that invaded your body through your eyes or your nose or your mouth and would take over yourself and control you, and then when it was done with you, it would move on. Oil then, if it stays in you, it can gestate into the alien from the movie. And then the alien from the movie can then become a gray. This black oil is spreading around the universe, subjugating races of aliens, including us, including human beings.